Okay, aloha everyone. My name is Brandon Smith. I am your orientation leader for today's session, which is civic and community engagement and financial literacy. Before we get started, I'm going to cover some housekeeping items for today's webinar. So first, you should be able to hear me clearly. If you cannot, please note that in the chat box so we can troubleshoot with you. Make sure to ensure that your audio is connected on the Zoom window. Make sure your computer volume is up or use headphones. Second, if you have any questions, please utilize the Q&A function as opposed to the chat function. And we'd like to save any questions for the end of the presentation. Finally, after this session, we're going to upload the recording of this webinar to the Visit Days platform in the videos section. So you can find that on the Manoa website. And there's also a YouTube playlist with all the 2021 orientation videos that you can look at as well. So now I would like to introduce today's presenter, Liane Akana. She is an educational specialist with the Office of Civic and Community Engagement. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you this morning to share information about our office. One of the things that Brandon didn't mention is that I am a mother of 2 UH students. So my oldest actually graduated a couple years ago, and my other son is on campus now, graduating next semester. So anyway, I do understand how students work, and we work with students every day in the office. So before I get started, I wanted to share a quote that I think speaks well to the pull of service to others. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And that's a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. This morning, I hope we can help you embark on your journey to service and provide you with some resources to do that. You might be wondering, what is civic engagement? And so I'm gonna play a short video to kind of cover what I mean by civic engagement.
No place on earth is perfect. Every community has a unique set of problems. Problems like corruption, pollution, unequal access to education, scarce affordable housing, hunger, or lack of quality health care. So whose job is it to solve these problems? Local government, businesses, nonprofits or NGOs, academic institutions. All of these sectors are important in a healthy society, but even if they wanted to, no single sector could solve all of the community's problems. That's why communities need individuals who are also working to solve local problems. It's called civic engagement. It's anytime someone takes action to better their community and encourages others to do it too. Authentic civic engagement is built on a shared understanding of community needs and a deep commitment to collaboration. Vibrant democracies create space for and encourage civic engagement. And when people make it their priority to engage, democracy is strengthened. Civic engagement takes many forms. It can be political, but it also looks like volunteering, joining a local organization, raising money for causes you care about, or using your voice to advocate. Anyone can be a civic leader. Change happens when ordinary people show up with compassion and courage. And together, we can form a powerful force for the creation of thriving, just, and free societies.
Okay, now that you have seen the video, you have a better understanding about what we're all about, and I'm going to go over a little bit about what we do in our office. So one of the main functions of our office is to help students to find volunteer opportunities in the community and to find ways of engaging with community organizations. So we are here to provide resources and information to you, the faculty and staff. We organize volunteer fairs, we plan service projects, and we service students who are pursuing scholarship opportunities through service. Okay, so I'm going to go over a little bit about some of the resources that we provide. The first one is the Manoa Service Award. The Manoa Service Award is an undergraduate scholarship that is given to financially qualified students. Students who are deemed qualified by the Financial Aid Office will receive an email of invitation to attend one of our orientation sessions. And if after visiting the orientation, you decide that you want to accept the award, then you would turn in an enrollment form and receive a $1,000 scholarship per semester, and in exchange agree to do 50 hours of service in the community. Unfortunately, you cannot specifically apply to the Manoa Service Award. What happens is if you are filling out the FAFSA and you are deemed to be eligible financially, then what happens is you get put on a list and we send out an invitation to you for the orientation. One of the things is the scholarship was intended to serve the GAP group. And so if it's for the students who are not Pell Grant eligible, up to a certain cap, and I am not sure, I'm sorry, I don't know what the cap is because it changes from year to year. But if you do receive an email from the Office of Civic and Community Engagement, do accept the invitation to come to an orientation so you can learn a little bit more about the Manoa Service Award requirements for the semester or the school year that you're being offered it. Okay, our office also promotes national and international service and is home to 2 Peace Corps recruiters this year. If you think that you might be interested in serving internationally, even if you are a freshman or a sophomore, it is not too early to start gathering information and preparing yourself for the application process. Okay, our recruiters will be holding monthly information sessions and can meet with you one-to-one for coaching. If accepted into the Peace Corps, you are sent overseas to a developing country and you work alongside the people of the country that you are collaborating with on projects to meet their needs. Volunteers who apply for the Peace Corps agree to a 2-year term of service with a 3-month intensive preparation for the assignment. So here are some of the requirements. You do need to be a U.S. citizen to serve in the Peace Corps, and there are several areas that you can choose to work in: agriculture, community development, education, environment, health, and youth development. So the current education award is $6,195, and it is given to you upon successful completion of your Peace Corps service. In addition, you will receive a living allowance. Our current, we have 2 new recruiters who will be coming on board starting with the new school year. And one of them served in Madagascar, and then the other one, I believe, served in Africa. So if that's something that you're interested in, do contact our office. Here is the contact information for them, and you can set up an appointment to talk to one of our recruiters or be put on a list so you can find out more information about upcoming events. Okay, we also promote national service through the AmeriCorps family of programs. I do have a short video that I would like to share with you.
This is your moment to take the path less traveled, to break the status quo, to stop talking about the problem and be the solution. This is your moment to create your own future, to bring people together and seek common ground. This is your moment to make our country safer, smarter, and healthier. You can inspire a kid to a brighter future. Build a house for a family in need or rebuild a community after disaster. Work in the wilderness to protect our public lands. Help a veteran find a home, a job, or a mentor. This is your moment to shape the future. This is your moment to be the greater good. Join America.
So the difference between AmeriCorps and the Peace Corps is the Peace Corps will send you overseas, and for AmeriCorps, you can select a state to serve in, and it's a nice, I think, way to see the country and to learn about other communities. So VISTA stands for Volunteers in Service to America. The UH Manoa campus has been a sponsor to several VISTA programs in the past. I believe there is a current project right now in the Office of Sustainability. And it's a 1-year commitment, similar to the Peace Corps. You get a living allowance and an education award at the end of your service. I think it's a great way to build your resume. So if you are interested in serving as an AmeriCorps VISTA, come by our office or email our office, and we will be happy to provide you with some information, answer any questions that you have. We used to have a VISTA recruiter in the office. Unfortunately, the grant that funded that ended last year. This past spring. So we no longer have a VISTA recruiter, but we do have people in the office who are very knowledgeable about AmeriCorps VISTA. And we also used to do the AmeriCorps VISTA Summer Associates program. We took a summer off this year, but hopefully we plan to do it again in the very near future. And the Summer Associates program is similar to the VISTA program, in which you get a living allowance and an education award at the end of service. But the nice thing about the Summer Associates program is that it's an 8 to 10 week commitment, and you work full-time just for the summer. And we were able to place students in nonprofit organizations, and they did anything from tutoring disadvantaged middle and high school students to feeding the poor, doing wellness checks on senior citizens during the pandemic, as well as pandemic planning for nonprofit organizations who are serving low-income communities. So anybody who has either served in the Peace Corps or AmeriCorps VISTA or the Summer Associates program has finished their term of service transformed. They all said that it was such a transformative experience as far as how they view the world and how they view their place in the world. So I highly encourage you, if it's something that speaks to you, to look into it. Always a good idea to do some advanced information collecting before you apply, so that you are placed in the best possible position to receive a placement. It is highly competitive, especially for the Peace Corps. Okay, let's see. Another one of the programs that we have in our office is the AAUW interns. AAUW stands for the American Association of University Women, and we currently have 6 interns in our office who work on issues related to women's equality. In our partnership with AAUW, our interns provide monthly events on Zoom, and they also provide important information for students who are interested in topics of women and women's equality. So here's a picture of the 4 returning interns, and I believe we are going to be bringing on board 2 new interns in the fall. In addition to the interns, they also have a RIO campus club, which is a registered independent organization on campus. And some of the workshops that they've provided in the past were on scholarships, leadership, pay equity, legislation, and community. There is a bunch of information on our website, and I encourage you to visit our website to look through some of the other things that might be posted. Another program that has been part of our office is the financial literacy program. We haven't had an operational program in our office since 2019, but we do feel that the topic is very important to students. And so we have presentations from past interns that created, and they are all on our website as well. So I invite you to stop by the website and to go through some of the presentations that are posted. Okay, so I also wanted to share a little bit about an exciting new venture that we started several years ago, and that is our UServe app. We also do volunteer fairs, engagement fairs on Zoom right now. In the past, we used to do in-person volunteer fairs, but because of the pandemic, we switched to virtual. And what we do is we invite community partners onto the Zoom platform, and for an hour, we host different organizations, and they share a little bit about what they do, what their mission is, and what their volunteer ways to be volunteers in their organization. It's been very popular, and so we do a 2-day one at the beginning of the semester because that's when most students are looking to get involved. And then every month thereafter, we do a 1-hour session once a month. So these are some of the partners that we have hosted in the past on our virtual volunteer community partner fair. So we're coming towards the end of my presentation, and the last thing I wanted to share with you is our UServe tracking system. It is a part of the STAR application that you use to register with. It's really cool. We have been working on it for the past year. And for students, if you go into UServe, you'll be able to find organizations that you might want to work with. You can look for service opportunities that are coming up. And we're in the process of launching the area of the app where you can start to track your volunteer hours so that you can keep them all in one place. We are also working with the nonprofits to allow them to log into the app and to upload unpaid internships, events, and ways in which you can communicate on the app to between students and the nonprofit organizations. Anyway, it's a really cool thing we're excited about. We're still developing out different sections of it, but it is operational, so you can log in and look around in there. And I encourage everyone to do so. One of the perks that we're giving out this semester is if you go into UServe and you look around and you do searches and check out what we have to offer, and you take a short survey at the end of it, your name will be put into a monthly drawing that we'll do, and we're giving out gift certificates and gift cards and different swag. So please, if you have some time, it's not very difficult. You don't need to create an account. You would use your credentials to log in and out. It would be a really nice thing for you to have to know about as you start to get oriented to the community here as well as the community. Hopefully you'll win some nice prizes and learn at the same time. Okay, so this is the link for the UServe in case you're interested in logging in. So we're about at the end of our my presentation, and I just wanted to share with you some links that you might want to know about. So our website is here, and we have an Instagram and a Facebook account where we update to let you know about upcoming events like our AAUW events, our Peace Corps information sessions, as well as volunteer opportunities that are coming up. One of the other things that you might want to be interested in is we do a monthly newsletter where we highlight what's coming up, some of the projects that we're working on, and ways that you could be involved. So that's about it as far as information goes. So I'm going to turn it back over to Leslie and Brandon for questions, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Liane. I appreciate always hearing about your office and the good work that you guys do with students in our community. So thank you for sharing that. We had a question come in, and before I read the question, just as a reminder to our participants, if you want to ask a question, go ahead and use the Q&A box, and you'll start typing your question in the box. And if you'd like it to be anonymous, just click the anonymous radio button, I guess is what it's called, but click that, and then when you send the question to us, we won't even see who sent it. So, but there are no bad questions, so you shouldn't feel like you have to do that, but if it makes you more comfortable, please do that. So the first question that came in, Liane, was, will serving in either the Peace Corps or AmeriCorps affect graduation time?
For the Peace Corps, you have to be a college graduate. So you cannot serve in the Peace Corps unless you are a college graduate. So for the Peace Corps, it's kind of a non-issue. For AmeriCorps Vista, you can be you have to be a high school graduate, but you do not need to be a college graduate. If you choose to serve in the AmeriCorps Vista programs, I would think that you would need to take a year off. If you do the Summer Associates program, obviously, as long as you're not taking summer classes, which would conflict with your full-time service in the Vista Summer Associates program, you could still maintain your full-time enrollment in the University of Hawaii. But if you're going to do a full-time one-year commitment, I would think you would need to be either graduated or you would need to leave school temporarily.
And Liane, is that because the AmeriCorps and the Vista programs are full-time? Like you're working 40 hours a week or volunteering 40 hours a week? So you don't have time to go to classes potentially because you're doing that level of service.
That's correct. So the education award can be used for student loans that you've already taken out, or sometimes students want to do Vista service or AmeriCorps service before they start college, in which case they can use the money for their undergraduate work, or a lot of students take a year or two off to do AmeriCorps Vista or Peace Corps, and then they go on to their graduate degrees, and they can apply the education awards to graduate school.
Okay. And along that same line, Liane, if somebody wants to do Peace Corps, do they have to pay for anything to initiate that, an application, anything from application to, going through the program? Do they have to pay for anything?
No, they don't. In fact, the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I believe, will pay you from the time that you start serving. So, but there's no application fee at all. And everything, in fact, you can select or put down your top 3 choices for the Peace Corps. So in the past, long time ago, you had no choice. You would just apply and then they'd put you where you could best be served. But now you can select which countries you're interested in, and depending on the availability and your skill set, they will interview you and accept you at hopefully one of your first 3 choices. And you also have the option of just leaving it up to them to decide for you, like the old way. AmeriCorps Vista is more specific. It's different programs will post their positions and you can look for it similar to looking for a job. And if you're interested in a specific state, you can do a search. Their search engine has ways to filter out areas of interest, states, and so you can get pretty specific about where you want to serve and what you want to do.
Another question that came in is, it's pretty broad. It just says, is community service required?
I'm sorry?
The question is pretty broad. It just says, is community service required?
For the university, no, it's not. Some classes do require service, but not all of them do, and it's not a requirement for graduation. The social sciences department does offer service learning classes in which you do need to take, do some service in order to get credits for your class, but it would be an elective class, so you would select that knowing that you would be doing service for credit. Okay.
And Liane, what are the most popular service sites on Oahu for community service?
The most popular ones, I think, that I get asked all the time are animals, working with animals. So the Humane Society, the ASPCA, and then the second most popular requests are for environmental volunteer sites. So one of the things that you should know is that I do have compiled different listings of all the hospitals and nursing homes and hospice programs onto one sheet. So if you are pre-med and you're looking for how to get some experience in those areas, if you contact our office, I do have sheets, tip sheets, where you have all of the listings in one place. Similarly, I have one for the environment and for on or near campus options. So if you are dorming and you don't have transportation, I do have a listing of places that are near campus that you could volunteer with.
Thank you. And good questions came in. Could volunteering lead to full-time work or maybe part-time work in general?
Absolutely. I mean, we do have students who participated in our summer associates positions, and that was folded into a position in the school year at the, during the school year, or if they were doing it before graduation, it turned into a full-time position as a staff person in the organization. So yes, in general, I used to run a nonprofit in a previous lifetime, and I would always look on people's resume to see whether or not what their community involvement was. So employers do look at that, and it is a marketable thing that is on your resume. So I encourage everybody who is interested in volunteering, and maybe those who are kind of not sure if they want to volunteer, it is a plus on your resume. So, consider it. It's also a great way to explore what kind of employment you're interested in. Sometimes you go through a bunch of studying and you come out the other end and you don't know if you even are going to like the work. But if you are a student and you're looking for a field, if you volunteer, you're going to know firsthand what is involved and if you're actually going to enjoy working in that area.
And this question actually came up a lot last fall when we were having the session, but have there been any COVID impacts to volunteering with the various organizations? And maybe does that mean that some organizations are no longer available, but some new ones are? Is there any change on that?
Yeah, so last year when the pandemic was at its peak, a lot of the nonprofit organizations did not have the resources to accept full-time in-person volunteers. So we did have a listing for virtual volunteering. I think since then, we've come a long way, and beginning in the spring, organizations started having people come back into the organizations, some more slowly than others. At this point in time, I would say that the programs are more accepting of in-person volunteers than virtual. We do have a couple of organizations that do still accept virtual volunteers, but they are fewer and farther between. But that may change because, as you know, things with COVID change very quickly. And as the infections go up, sometimes organizations start to pull back on accepting in-person volunteers. But if you have any questions, or if you are looking for something specifically for a virtual position, do contact our office, because I do know of a couple that are looking for virtual volunteers.
And Liane, I think this question came from somebody who's interested in maybe doing service, but not really knowing how to get started. So what should they be thinking about if they wanted to get started in service? Like, should they think about how many hours a week they could regularly give, or what other requirements should they be considering when they're looking to start this?
Right, that's a really great question, Leslie. So what I will say is volunteer programs will generally, volunteer programs will generally ask you for an application. So before you get started doing that, though, you should kind of take stock about what kind of time you have available. You know, is it on the weekends? Is it during the weekdays? Also kind of think about what your interests are. You know, do you want to work with kids? Do you want to work with senior citizens? Are you good on computers? Do you rather do something administrative, like office work, or are you a more outdoors person? Being very specific about what your interests are will help you determine what kind of volunteer programs you're going to be looking for. If you go into the YouServe app, you can kind of do a search of different subject areas, like environment or social services, or even the arts. And then they'll bring up organizations that that match your interest area. Then you would contact the organization and put in an application, or have a conversation with the volunteer coordinator. And usually there's an orientation. Some places will ask you for a commitment of at least 3 months before they accept you as a volunteer. Others are mostly interested in taking one-time volunteers for like events. So I would say there is a volunteer position for anybody who has any kind of time commitment or area of interest. So even somebody who is interested in history, there are volunteer positions that would be able to meet your interest area.
Also, there are events, I don't know, so say there is a nonprofit who's doing an annual fundraising drive or an annual race or something. They might actually just be looking for volunteers for that, but otherwise they don't necessarily have the capacity that they need those people. Is that right?
That's right. So there are one-time events, and then there are the more ongoing events. I mean, ongoing volunteer positions where you make a commitment to go, say, once a month or once every other week, or a couple hours every week. So it all depends on what your availability and your needs are.
Perfect.
So if you want to stop by our office, we do have brochures from dozens of volunteer organizations in the office, and you can just kind of browse through and see what you're interested in. You can use YouServe. You can call our office and make an appointment. We can meet in person or on Zoom, and I can do a one-on-one consult with you based on your interest, your time availability, and your transportation.
And I love all these things you're picking up, Liane, and highlighting about the benefits of community service, not only to the service to our community and helping these organizations and sharing your services and your time and your resources, but also the things that you get out of it. You get, enrichment from doing that work, but you also get experience in a potential future career field. You get experience you can put on your resume. You're going to meet new people. You're going to interact with people from all over the island. So I love all these benefits. Is there any con to doing customer or community service?
Let's see. I would say none at all.
I love that because all I'm hearing is good. And I agree with you. I think it's such a great opportunity to also get out there and things like that. Actually, when I was a first year student, I did community service and I met one of my best friends of all time. I'm still friends with her in like the first weekend of school because we did community service together. So you never know who you're going to meet and kind of get to know in different services and different opportunities around the island. So definitely take advantage of that.
That's right.
One more question in here, Liane. It says, are there any majors that would benefit me more if I wanted to do Peace Corps or AmeriCorps?
That is something that I would talk to our recruiters about. I don't think I would not suggest you picking a major based on trying to serve in the Peace Corps or the AmeriCorps. I would instead pick your major based on what you're interested in, and whatever you're interested in, you don't have to use that degree in your service. It's more about a more holistic approach. So what your experiences are in any jobs that you've had, part-time or full-time jobs you've had, any volunteering that you've done. That's why it's important to broaden your base as a volunteer and doing community service, because you might be able to do like grant writing, which is not something that is taught in school, but as a volunteer, you might be learning that skill. So I would say it doesn't really matter what your major is if you want to serve in the Peace Corps or the AmeriCorps.
Great. Because everybody can contribute, right?
Yes, that's right.
Well, we'll do one more call out for questions. So if any of our attendees have questions, please feel free to use the Q&A box. Again, you can't enter the questions anonymously if that fits what you're looking for, but please go ahead and use the Q&A box. We've had some tremendous questions already. We really appreciate our attendees participating with us this morning. We've had some really great questions. We really appreciate that. But any other questions we have from our attendees, we'll give you another minute if you have any questions.
Leslie, can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
We are located in the Queen Leleokalani Center for Student Services. And if you're not familiar with the campus, it's the same building where financial aid, admissions and records, and the Career Center is. So if you want to stop by, our office is open from 8 to 4 and Monday through Friday. So stop by and visit us if you're on campus and check us out.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Now, is that the best way that they should be in contact with you all? Is there another way that you prefer, or is that the best way in person?
That is one way. Okay. So the other way is you can email us and make an appointment, and we can do a Zoom meetup with you. And our email address, the main email address for the office is slp@hawaii.edu.
Great, thank you.
And our phone number is area code 808-956-4641. 808-956-4641.
We'll do one more call out for questions. Does any of our attendees have any other questions for Liane and this office?
everyone. I think we're going to wrap up now. Thank you all so much for joining us today for this presentation. I found this to be very informative. We hope you all did too. So thank you very much to Liane Akana. If you have any further questions, you can email your orientation leader, or you can email nrwo@hawaii.edu. As mentioned, this webinar, along with all the other ones for orientation, will be published on the NSO platform and YouTube. So definitely feel free to go check those out. And thank you all so much for coming. Mahalo.